Elvis Presley once flew a 4-engine commercial jet 900 miles in the middle of the night to pick up peanut butter sandwiches. That is the level of aircraft we are dealing with today. 6 planes, 1 FBI Sting, 1 jet that is now a road-legal motorhome touring air shows, and 1 aircraft, the only surviving example of its entire type in the world, sitting in Memphis with gold-plated bathroom fixtures and 52 speakers in the walls. Number 1 is the most over-the-top private aircraft in celebrity aviation history. Stay there. For number 6, we got the era before Presley owned anything, when he was renting other people's aircraft and occasionally painting TCB logos on the doors. Through the early 1970s, Presley's touring requirements had grown beyond what commercial first-class travel could accommodate. His core entourage, the Memphis Mafia, his TCB band with guitarist James Burton, the security detail, needed their own aircraft. He began leasing them. In April and November of 1972, he toured extensively in a Grumman Gulfstream IIB, registration N8000J. This aircraft appears throughout the MGM documentary Elvis on Tour, the footage that put Presley's touring machine on film for millions of people. In Roanoke, Virginia, the mayor came aboard during a stopover and presented Presley with a flower-covered cardboard guitar. Presley accidentally snapped it in half. That moment is documented because everything involving Elvis Presley at this point in history was documented. The summer of 1973 and 1974 brought a more remarkable arrangement. Presley leased a McDonnell Douglas DC-9 from Playboy founder Hugh Hefner. The aircraft was painted completely black and known as the Big Bunny. It had a Playboy bunny logo on the tail. Presley used it for summer travel. There is no record of what Colonel Tom Parker thought about this, though it is fair to assume his reaction was complicated. In 1974, Presley rented a Bay AC-111 jetliner and had the TCB Lightning Bolt logo painted directly onto the aircraft's entry door before Tour 13. Photographed extensively at Eppley Airport in Philadelphia. A year later, for Tour 16, a different Bay AC-111 with 3 color stripes running the full length of the fuselage. The stripes, light blue, brown, and navy, were documented at Hobby Airport in Texas and again in Huntsville, Alabama. These were not his aircraft. That distinction mattered to him more than he had yet admitted. For number 5, we got a $75,000 deposit lost, a Gulfstream rejected by its intended recipient, a dog flown to Boston in a chartered turboprop, and a jet bought and sold within 2 weeks. In January 1975, Presley placed a $75,000 deposit on a Boeing 707 previously owned by Robert Vesco. If the name Vesco does not immediately ring a bell, he was a fugitive financier who had fled the United States under investigation for securities fraud and was at this point conducting his affairs from undisclosed South American locations while under multiple international indictments. The 707 inspection revealed loose control cables and completely non-functional radio equipment. Presley's advisors then discovered the aircraft was legally entangled with a South American holding company connected to Vesco's operations, and that if the aircraft landed in any jurisdiction where Vesco held financial influence, local authorities might attempt to seize it. The deposit was forfeited. The purchase was abandoned on February 13, 1975. The $75,000 did not come back. What followed between July and August of 1975 was one of the more chaotic 2-month purchasing records in private aviation history. July. Presley bought a Grumman Gulfstream G1 turboprop sight unseen as a gift for his manager Colonel Tom Parker. When the aircraft was delivered to Parker in Las Vegas, Parker's response was, and this is documented, "You've got to be kidding." He had no use for a private plane, no desire for one, and no intention of accepting the associated operational costs. He rejected the $1 million gift. August 3rd. With the Gulfstream rejected, Presley entered a $13,000 per month lease on a Fairchild F-27 turboprop for a specific mission, flying his chow dog, Getlo, who had been in a veterinary hospital in Boston for 3 months recovering from kidney disease, back to Memphis. The Fairchild was leased to transport a dog. Let's be honest, at this scale of wealth, a chartered turboprop for a dog makes complete sense and also absolutely does not. August 15th. Presley cancelled the Fairchild lease and purchased an Aero Jet Commander for $508,000. August 27th. Presley signed with Omni Aircraft Sales to liquidate both the Commander and the rejected Gulfstream. 2 aircraft in, both out within a month. The money freed by this liquidation was used the following week to buy his first Lockheed JetStar. The summer of failed purchases had somehow resolved itself into exactly the aircraft he needed. For number 4, we got the Lockheed JetStar that Presley named Hound Dog 2, acquired on September 2, 1975, for $899,702.60. The Lockheed JetStar is a foundational artifact in corporate aviation history. Designed by Kelly Johnson, the man behind the U-2 spy plane and the SR-71 Blackbird, after the Air Force dropped a trainer contract in 1957, Johnson pivoted the design toward the executive transport market. 4 rear-mounted turbojet engines, massive slipper fuel tanks mounted mid-wing, making the aircraft instantly recognizable from the ground. Cruise speed roughly 567 miles per hour, range 2,500 miles, cabin tall enough to walk upright via a sunken center aisle. 204 were built between 1957 and 1978. The US president flew in a military variant called the VC-140. Presley hired Milo High as his personal pilot for the JetStar. On October 8, High flew Presley and 5 others on their first flight in the aircraft, a 1-hour familiarization run. The following day, Dallas and back. 2 weeks later, a veterinary mission to Boston to retrieve Getlow, the same dog that had previously required the Fairchild F-27 charter, who had been at a Boston hospital for 3 months recovering and was now cleared to come home. The JetStar served as the primary utility aircraft, while Presley's larger acquisition was undergoing refurbishment in Fort Worth. He used it to fly to Texas to personally inspect the progress of the gold installations. When the flagship aircraft was ready, Hound Dog 2 transitioned to supporting Colonel Tom Parker's advanced logistics and touring staff. The man who had rejected the Gulfstream G1 now routinely flew in the JetStar that replaced it. The aircraft was subsequently sold following Presley's death, passed through several owners, and was eventually acquired by Hustler magazine founder Larry Flynt. Its subsequent history is considerably less colorful than what came next in the fleet. If this fleet is already doing what a good fleet story should do, drop Lisa Marie in the comments right now. Just that. It tells us you are here, and this channel continues because of people who stay this far. Number 3 involves a federal investigation, a fraudulent check, an aircraft stripped for parts, and a conviction for racketeering. Stay with me because the price only escalates from here. For number 3, we got the JetStar that Presley was forced to buy because criminals stole his other one, and which sold at auction in 2023 for $260,000 to a YouTuber who turned it into a motorhome. In 1975, with the Lisa Marie completed and operational, Hound Dog the shoe sat increasingly underutilized. The Presley estate was approached by a man named Fred Pro, also known as Alfredo Proc, or Freddie Pro depending on which jurisdiction's records you consult, who proposed a leaseback arrangement. Pro would purchase the JetStar, restore it at his own expense, and lease it back to the Presley estate with an option to repurchase at a nominal fee. Vernon Presley, managing his son's financial affairs, reviewed and approved the transaction. He handed over the aircraft. He accepted 2 large checks. Both checks bounced. Fred Pro had no intention of restoring anything. Undercover FBI agents who were already tracking Pro and his associate Phil Kitzer as part of Operation Fountain Pen, a federal investigation into a fraud syndicate responsible for an estimated $25 billion in global financial crimes, recorded Pro mid-flight on the stolen aircraft's skyphone, bragging to Kitzer and using the phrase "wheels up" to describe what he had pulled off. Pro proceeded to strip the aircraft of avionics and engines for black market liquidation. The Presley family spent months attempting to recover the aircraft while Pro stalled with false promises. During this period, the estate was forced to purchase a replacement JetStar on December 22, 1976, for $840,000. This replacement aircraft, a 1962 model with red and silver exterior, wood paneling, and red velvet upholstery, was the last major aircraft acquisition the Presley estate ever made. Elvis Presley died on August 16, 1977. He never flew in the replacement JetStar. The FBI eventually dismantled Operation Fountain Pen. Pro and Kitzer both pleaded guilty to federal racketeering. Each received 10-year prison sentences. The original JetStar was returned to the estate. Vernon Presley cooperated fully with the investigation and provided trial testimony. The replacement red velvet JetStar was sold by the estate following Presley's death, abandoned at Roswell International Air Center in New Mexico, and sat in the desert for nearly 4 decades. Its engines and avionics were removed. Its red velvet interior miraculously survived intact. On January 8, 2023, what would have been Presley's 88th birthday, it sold at the Meckham-Kissimmee auction for $260,000 to aviation YouTuber James Webb. Restoring it to flightworthiness would cost an estimated $5.7 million, and its original turbojet engines are prohibited from operation under modern FAA noise regulations. Webb mounted the fuselage onto a 38-foot diesel motorhome chassis, fabricated over 1,000 serialized commemorative medallions from the dismantled wings, and drove it to EAA AirVenture Oshkosh in 2024. He attempted to drive the converted JetStar to Graceland for a reunion photograph. The estate declined to allow entry. Webb hypothesizes this is connected to the estate's painful institutional memory of the FBI sting that necessitated purchasing the aircraft in the first place. The JetStar is currently a road-legal recreational vehicle. For number 1, we got the only properly preserved Convair 880 in the world, parked in Memphis with 24-karat gold-plated faucets in the bathroom, 52 speakers in the cabin, and a call sign of 880 Echo Papa. The Convair 880 was a commercial disaster and a private aircraft of extraordinary capability. General Dynamics produced 65 of them between 1959 and 1962, designed to outpace the Boeing 707 and the Douglas DC-8. It succeeded on speed. 4 General Electric CJ805 turbojet engines, civilian derivatives of the J79 fighter engine, producing 44,800 pounds of combined thrust, pushing the aircraft to a cruise speed of 615 miles per hour. Mach 0.8 plus. That is faster than most commercial aircraft fly today. Its narrow fuselage seated 110 passengers against the 707's 150. Its fuel consumption ran 1,700 gallons per hour at cruise, spiking to 2,200 gallons during takeoff. The combination of high burn rate and low passenger count made it economically catastrophic for airlines. Delta Airlines retired their fleet early. Presley purchased construction number 220038, registered N8809E, on April 17, 1975, for $250,000. He immediately applied for the personalized registration N880EP. Then he spent more than the aircraft cost on the interior. The refurbishment at Meacham Field in Fort Worth took 6 months. The design team had previously worked on Air Force One. The standard 110-seat commercial cabin was stripped completely and replaced with a configuration for 28 passengers, typically flying with 8 to 10. The rear of the aircraft received a private master bedroom with a queen-size bed equipped with a full-width seatbelt, the FAA having strong opinions about beds in aircraft. The en-suite bathroom featured a 24-karat gold-flecked washbasin and gold faucets. The mid-cabin conference room was finished in teakwood with an elliptical leather table and deep recliner chairs. Cabin seating throughout. Plush suede in yellow, green, and gold with gold-plated seatbelt buckles. The technology package, a quadraphonic stereo system with 52 speakers placed throughout the aircraft. 4 television monitors linked to a central RCA videotape system. A sky-to-ground radio telephone system capable of reaching any landline in the world while airborne. The exterior was finished with the TCB lightning bolt on the tail. The air traffic control call sign was 880 Echo Papa. The crew called it Hound Dog 1. Total refurbishment cost, between $600,000 and $800,000. The aircraft that cost $250,000 to buy cost 3 times that to furnish. Captain Elwood David flew its first VIP mission on November 27, 1975, Memphis to Las Vegas for a 2-week concert engagement. In the years that followed, the aircraft flew Presley's touring schedule, his personal excursions, and the Fool's Gold Midnight Sandwich run to Denver. The annual operating cost in 1976 was $404,000, excluding fuel. On August 16, 1977, Presley was found dead at Graceland. Captain David flew the Lisa Marie to California to retrieve Priscilla Presley, Lisa Marie Presley, and George Hamilton and bring them to Memphis for the funeral. His final command of the aircraft was the return flight to California to drop off the grieving family, followed by a deadhead back to Memphis. Vernon Presley sold the aircraft in 1978. The Lisa Marie passed through private corporate ownership, occasionally spotted on commercial tarmacs, until Elvis Presley Enterprises negotiated its return to Memphis in 1984. It has been on permanent display at the Graceland complex ever since. Of the 65 Convair 880s manufactured, the Lisa Marie is the only comprehensively preserved airframe remaining. Every other example was scrapped when airlines retired the type due to fuel costs. Presley's wealth insulated his aircraft from the economics that destroyed the rest. Cultural reverence for his legacy preserved it permanently after his death. The 24-karat gold faucets are still in the bathroom. The 52 speakers are still in the walls. The teak conference table is still in the mid-cabin. It is a museum piece that was also, briefly, the only private aircraft in the world equipped for a midnight 900-mile peanut butter sandwich run. Number 1. 6 aircraft. Some owned, some rented, one stolen and converted into a road-legal recreational vehicle. A $250,000 airliner that required another $800,000 worth of gold faucets to become properly furnished. A $1 million aircraft purchased as a gift for a man who said absolutely not. A jet bought to fly a dog from Boston and then returned 3 weeks later. Elvis Presley was not a pilot. He was a man who reached a level of fame that made commercial travel functionally impossible and proceeded to solve that problem in the most expensive, most theatrical, most Elvis way available. The result was a fleet that inadvertently preserved one of the rarest commercial jet airframes in aviation history, not because anyone planned it that way, but because no economic logic could compete with the cultural weight of what the aircraft had become. Which aircraft from this list would you want on your tarmac? The 4-engine Convair at 615 miles per hour. The red velvet JetStar that is now doing county fairs as a motorhome. Drop it in the comments. Subscribe. The next video covers a man who did hold a pilot certificate, a commercial one actually, with an instrument rating, a multi-engine endorsement, a helicopter license, and a citation type rating, and who used his aircraft for purposes considerably more practical and considerably more dangerous than midnight sandwich runs. See you there.